Start off on the left side, Steve. Second row, Mark Medina.
Steve, Mark Medina, Bay Area News Group. Draymond was just reiterating the point he made last night. They felt like the defensive stuff started with him. What's your perspective of what you need from him moving forward, as well as the rest of the team defensively?
What was my perspective about what?
On what you need to see from Draymond moving forward defensively and the rest of the team?
It's a team effort, and nothing has changed from last night. And I don't know, maybe we've got another media session scheduled for 5 o'clock this evening. I'll say the same thing, which is that transition defense, that's where it starts. And we were just careless getting back. And so, Draymond is always going to take the burden on his shoulders, and I respect that about him. But it's a team effort, 5-man group. And if your transition defense is bad, then there's not a whole lot you can do, because you're talking about the best players in the world coming downhill in a fast game, 5-on-4, 4-on-3. It's just too easy to score for any team, but especially a team like Toronto that's in the finals.
Side in the back to Steve.
Steve Simmons, Toronto Sun. Maybe the first seminal moment in the history of the Raptors was a game in which you played in 25 years ago. The Bulls came into Toronto, a huge sellout at Skydome. What do you remember from that night and that game?
I remember missing the game-winning shot at the buzzer. It's true. But it's also hard for me to think about that being a seminal moment. I think that Raptors team won, 15 or 20 games, but it was a big game for the fans, and you could feel the energy. That was at the Dome, if I'm not mistaken. So what I remember back then was just coming up here and how intense and passionate the fans were. They were so excited to have the NBA. So maybe that's what you're referring to in terms of the first real feeling of being part of the league, upsetting the Bulls, all that stuff. So I remember that game well.
Paramount, you don't want him to re-injure it. But is there any assessment of where the series is and how that balances? If he can't re-injure it, if it's just a matter of what kind of shape he's in, maybe you think about getting him in faster. Is that part of the balance at all?
No, it's not. It's not my thinking. It's not our thinking. The thinking is when he's ready to play, he'll play. It's not like this is a sore ankle, or his knee is sore or whatever, and you can play through it. And this is a tricky one. If you re-injure the calf, then that's it, and then he's done for the series. So when he's ready to play, he'll play. That's our approach.
You've always been, if he's ready to play, basically the minutes he plays as much as going to. Is that something you can? Sorry, could you foresee him playing in a limited role, like where you're playing just very little spots here and there?
Kevin?
Yeah.
I don't see that. When he's ready to play, we're going to play him. Maybe there'd be a minutes issue based on his conditioning from not having played in a month or whatever it is. But we'll just have to wait and see. Once he's ready to play, he'll play, and then Rick and I will discuss what a plan would be in terms of how many minutes and all that stuff.
In the middle, 8 rows back to Mark.
Herman, New York Post. You have more, Kevin. How has he responded to those couple of days of the on-court drills? And you guys are having a real practice today, right? So there's and is Kevin sort of maybe missed more against a team like the Raptors with their great forwards than opposed to maybe Portland?
He's done well with his rehab the last couple of days. He's continuing to ramp stuff up, and I'm just not going to answer any questions about do we miss him against this team or that team or whatever. It's just because it's just a soundbite, and it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is we have to win the game with what we have, and then when he comes back, we'll put him out there. Nothing else matters.
Second row, third one in, on the right side.
Steve, Jason Dumas, Cron 4 Sports. You've talked about it this week and in the past, how much you love this city, you guys here. What do you think the atmosphere was like yesterday for their first playoff game, first finals game, I'm sorry, in franchise history, and how do you guys think you responded to the energy in the building and the energy from them?
It was a great atmosphere. The national anthem was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. Hearing the crowd sing along to "O Canada" was beautiful, and I thought our guys responded well. I mean, we're used to playing on the road, hostile environments, all that. I don't think we played our A game. I think that's obvious. I think we did some good things, and there are a lot of areas we need to improve, but the crowd will never have anything to do with that, with this team. We're going to play our game, and it's fun, frankly, it's fun to be in these environments, to be challenged, to be threatened, and especially because the Canadian fans are so nice that even when they're harassing us, they do it in a very polite manner.
Right side, in the back on the island.
Nick Friedel, ESPN. I just want to follow up on a couple things. Have you guys made a final decision as for Kevin's status for Sunday night?
Kevin's not going to play Sunday. Yeah, I guess we've been, sort of holding out hope, but I might as well just say it now. He's not practicing today. We'll have a practice tomorrow, but he's still progressing. It's near impossible for him to play on Sunday.
And the second part is, Draymond touched on this earlier. Why did you guys make the decision to have him travel here if he wasn't going to play?
Because our training staff is here, and we need him with our training staff, and we also need our training staff for the rest of our players. And Kevin also wanted to be with the guys.
Left side, Steve against the wall, David.
David Aldridge. Hey, how are you? At various points during this run, the last 5 years, the Memphis series, and you responded and got through. What have you seen from your guys at those particular moments, and what does knowing that they've done it before do for you as a coach going forward in a series like this?
Well, the experience helps. Winning multiple championships helps because you've seen it all. There's also just the knowledge that you've been here before. You've been down. We've been up 3-1 and lost a series. We've been down 3-1 and won a series. Everything in between. So nothing's going to catch these guys off guard, and they are very accustomed to the rhythm and tone of a 7-game series, and how long it takes, how many twists and turns there are, and you know that as soon as you lose a game, it'll be on the crawl that now we only have a 19.7% chance of winning the series. But then if we win tomorrow, we'll have a 42.7% chance of not losing the series. So you just, this stuff is what it is. You lose a game, you come back and you try to win. And the team we're playing knows that better than anybody. They were down 2-0 and came back and won 4 straight. So these things change quickly, but you have to be prepared for everything. You have to learn from your mistakes. You have to keep fighting, and it's actually pretty simple. Now, the execution of it is not simple, but when you watch it on tape, okay, this is what we have to do, and then, are we good enough to do it? And that's what makes it fun. You get to test yourself.
Left side, 5th row on the island, Eric.
Hey Steve, Eric Curran from The Athletic. Aside from defense, when you got them in the half court, what was your impression of your guys' job in the half court defense, and particularly as it related to getting the ball out of Kawhi Leonard's hands?
I thought we did a pretty good job in the half court. There were some plays where we didn't rotate all the way through. The 2 Gasol threes early in the game stood out, where we just kind of stopped. Can't do that. That's regular season basketball. Playoff basketball, you got to make every rotation until the shot clock goes out, until you get the rebound. So there were plenty of mistakes, but also plenty of good things that we did. And you know, if you just boil it down to half-court stuff, I walk away from that game feeling fine. It was, as I've said many times, it was the transition that opened up the game and really hurt us.
Left side, second row, maybe.
Hi, Sports. Is there an update on Andre? And second part, just the speed of the Raptors transition, is it reminiscent of any other playoff series that you've been a part of with the Warriors?
Andre had an MRI this morning and seems to be doing well. I haven't heard the results yet, but I talked to him and he said he felt pretty good. And the second part of the question, does this opponent remind me of anybody, or?
Draymond was discussing the speed of the Raptors transition. He said the game was a lot faster than it looks even when you watch it.
Right.
And so I was wondering if this speed of the Raptors reminds you of any of the playoff series that the Warriors have been part of.
I'm not sure if it reminds me of any of our series, but they remind me of us in a lot of ways. Draymond pushes the ball in transition. Siakam pushes the ball in transition. You know, they've got a lot of guys who can make plays with the ball, just like we do. You know, sometimes they play 2 point guards with Lowry and Van Vliet, and you know, sometimes we do the same with Steph and Sean, or Steph and Andre, or all three of them. And so when you've got a team that can push the ball from a lot of different positions, make plays from a lot of different positions, and plays fast, you've got to be vigilant every possession. And so, yeah, if anything, they remind me of us.
Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area. Steve, Andre has acknowledged in the past that when KD is out, he feels more of a need to provide some offense. Last night he had some open looks and able to get anything going down, really. In your mind, how important is it that he bring you something on the offensive end in terms of scoring under these conditions against this particular team? And how hard is it to change his game enough to be able to do that, add that function to it?
I think we scored enough points last night. You know, Andre didn't have his best game, obviously, shooting the ball, but Jonas made a couple threes. Alfonso made a couple. As long as we're getting some scoring from our you know, secondary scorers, then we're in good shape. It doesn't matter if it comes from Andre or Quinn or Jonas or a combination of the above. I thought we got enough scoring. It was, you know, and every game's going to change. You know, I thought they hit some really tough shots last night at the end of shot clocks, and so they made the shots and they deserved it. But again, to me, it doesn't come down to how many shots Andre makes. It comes down to defense and getting stops. That's what the playoffs are about. We didn't get enough stops.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks.